everyone. My name is Chelsea Sanchez, and for my final presentation, I will be applying both of these readers that you see here in the title to the Department of Social Services, also called DSS. Throughout this presentation, I will analyze the organization through structural, human resources, political, and symbolic frames. I will also discuss organizational theories that help explain how culture is developed, sustained, and modified within the organization. Finally, I will examine what a new leader should understand before attempting a cultural shift and providing strategic recommendations designed to prompt commitment to change. My goal is to demonstrate how the four frames provide a more complete understanding of the organizational effectiveness, culture, and leadership. In this slide, the Department of Social Services is a public service organization dedicated to support individuals and families through a variety of programs and services. Unlike many private organizations, DSS operates within a highly regulated environment where success is measured through a service delivery, commitment, impact, and public accountability rather than profit. The organization serves a diverse population and works alongside county leadership, state agencies, community organizations, and employees to fulfill its mission. DSS is particularly interested to analyze because it exists as an intersection of public accountability, communities' needs, organizational effectiveness, and leaders must balance regulations, limited resources, employee needs, community expectations, and by applying both of these readers, it helps reveals how structure, the people, politics, and culture interacts to influence organizational performance and leadership effectiveness. The structural frames focuses on how organizations are designed to achieve their goals. Through the lens, DSS relies on formal roles, reporting relationships, policies, procedures, and accountability systems. Employees operate within clearly defined responsibilities that help ensure services are delivered consistently and in accordance with state and federal requirements. One of the greatest strengths of the structural frame is the ability to create stability and consistency. Employees understand their responsibilities, leaders understand reporting relationships, and procedures help ensure fairness and accountability. However, structure can also create limitations. Public organizations often face challenges when attempting to adapt quickly because formal procedures can slow decision-making innovations. Both of these readers also explain the structure is essential for coordination and accountability, but leaders must continuously evaluate whether existing systems support organizational goals or create barriers in programs. The human resources frame focuses on relationships between people and organization. The perspective assumes organizations perform best when employees' need and organizational goals are aligned. Within DSS, employees are the organization's most valuable assets because they are directly responsible for delivering services to the community. Examples of the human resources frame can be seen through leadership development opportunities, employees' recognition in activities, professionalism, growth programs, and efforts to encourage collaboration. These investments help employees feel valued and supported while also strengthening organizational effectiveness. This frame reinforces an important leadership lesson for me. Employees are not simply resources to be managed, they are individuals whose engagement, trust, and commitment directly influences organizational outcomes. Leaders are invested to employees' development, create stronger teams, and improve the organization's ability to fulfill its mission. The human resources frame demonstrates the organizational success depends on only on performance but also on people feeling respected, supported, and connected in their work. The political frame recognizes that organizations operate in environments characterized by competing interests, limited sources, and different priorities. Within DSS, leaders must balance the expectations of employees, community organizations, county leaderships, and state agencies because resources such as funding, staffing, and time are limited. Leaders are often required to make difficult decisions regarding priorities and resources allocations. This frame helped me understand that leadership involves much more than authority. Effective leaders must negotiate, build relationships, and create collisions to achieve organizational goals. Conflict is not necessary to sign. Instead, conflict often occurs because individuals and groups have different interests and perspectives. Both of the readers suggest that power and influence are natural components of organizational life. Successful leaders acknowledge these realities and work collaboratively to balance competing interests while maintaining trust and accountability. The symbolic frame was the most impactful frame for me because it focuses on meaning, culture, value, and organizational identity. Throughout the lens, DSS becomes more than a workplace, it becomes a community united by a shared commitment of public service. Several symbolic characteristics are ev- evident within the organization. The public service mission provides employees within a sense of purpose and reminds that when why their work matters. Employees recognition programs reinforces organizational values by celebrating dedication, leadership, and service. Community engagement activities communicate the organization's commitment to include the and respect each other. Stories shared among employees help reinforce expectations regarding teamwork, professionalism, and commitment to serving others. Both of the readers argue that symbols influence behavior because they help people understand what an organization values. Applying this frame changed my perspective on culture because I realized that employees often respond more strongly to meaning than to policy. People are committed not only to what they do, but to what they do it, to why they do it. Several organizational theories explored throughout this course helped explain the culture of DSS. The symbolic frame explains how values, rituals, stories, and tradition creates shared meanings. Simon concepts of the infinite mindset suggest that organizations are most successful when employees feel connected to a cause greater than themselves. This concept aligns closely with public service because employees are motivated by the opportunity to positively impact their communities. Next, it also contributes to organizational culture by emphasizing vision, inspiration, and commitment to shared goals. The transformalization leaders help employees understand how their contribution supports the organization or their mission. Together, these theories suggest that culture is sustained when leaders constantly reinforce purpose, trust, and organization values. Culture is not maintained through policies alone, it is maintained through shared meaning, relationships, and a collective commitment to a common purpose. Organizational culture is not static. It is continuously developed, sustained, and modified over time. At DSS, culture develops throughout the organization's mission, values, leadership, expectations, and the employee's experience. New employees learn what is important through training, observation, and daily interactions with coworkers and leaders. Culture is sustained through recognition programs, leadership behavior, organizational stories, and community engagement activities. Employees learn what behaviors are valued by observing what leaders recognize and reward. Culture can also be modified when organizations introduce new activities, gather employees' feedback, and invest in professional development. However, culture change does not happen overnight. It requires consistent communication, leadership support, and employee engagement. This process demonstrates that culture is both durable and adaptable, making leadership a critical factor in determining whether change is embraced or resisted. Before attempting any cultural shift, a new leader must first understand the existing culture. One of the most important lessons I learned from the course is that culture cannot be changed effectively until it is understood. A new leader should take time to learn the organization's history, values, traditions, and informal norms. They should also assess trust levels and identify potential sources of resistance. Many change efforts fail because leaders focus on changing visible behaviors without understanding the beliefs and assumptions that support those behaviors. The iceberg model illustrates the concept well. Visible practices represent only a small portion of organizational culture. Beneath the surface are values, assumptions, relationships, beliefs that influence behavior every day. Leaders who fail to understand these deeper cultural elements often encounter resistance and struggle to gain employees' commitment. Based on the analysis, I would offer 5 recommendations to a leader seeking cultural change within DSS. First, conduct a cultural assessment to understand organizational strengths, challenges, and employees' perspectives. Second, build trust before implanting significant changes. Employees are more likely to support change when they trust leadership. Third, involve employees in decision making. Participation increases ownership and reduces resistance. Fourth, ensure change in activities aligned with organizational values and culture. Finally, connect all change efforts to the mission of public service. Both the readers emphasize that people are most likely to support change when they understand its purpose and believe it contributes to a meaningful cause. The recommendations help create commitment rather than compliance, which ultimately leads to more sustainable organizational change. Applying the 4 frames provided several valuable lessons regarding leadership and organizational culture. First, structure alone cannot create commitment. Second, culture often influences behavior more powerfully than policy. Third, meaning drives engagement and motivation. Fourth, trust must exist before change can be successful. Finally, leadership, a fundamental about creating purpose and meaning. Prior to this course, I viewed leadership primarily through a structural lens. Today, I understand that effective leadership must be managed and structured, people, po- politicals, and culture. The most successful leaders recognize how these elements interact and use the knowledge to strengthen organizational effectiveness. The analysis reinforces the importance of viewing organizations throughout multiple perspectives rather than relying on a single leadership approach. In conclusion, applying both of these readers' 4 frames revealing the organizational effectiveness depends much more than political and procedures. The Department of Social Services demonstrates how structure, people, politics, and meaning work together to shape culture and performance. Which each frame provides a unique perspective, no single frame offers a complete understanding of the organization. Effective leaders must understand all 4 perspectives in order to navigate challenges, support employees, manage competing interests, and sustain a strong organization culture. Most importantly, this analysis reinforces the idea that leadership is not simply about managing work, it is about creating meaning, building trust, and helping people connect their daily responsibilities to a large purpose. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my presentation.